that he know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bryshere and he Meek Mills, and you know it, Bilal.
Jaguar Wright snatches Bryshere Gray's mother and leaks $10 million deal with Diddy. Jaguar Wright isn't playing with Bryshere Gray's mother at all, especially after Diddy found a way to beat those RICO charges because she just went in on her and exposed the $10 million deal she got into with Diddy to sell Bryshere off to him for freak offs. Bryshere was deceived into thinking he was being given to Diddy for a mentorship program, but according to Jaguar Wright, he was just used for his body and made to inhale an unholy amount of years till there was nothing left of him or his career. To top it all off, he got blackballed, and he didn't even get a cut of that $10 million his mama got from Diddy in exchange for him. Now he is on of getting bent over and being topped by multiple men without protection. Bryshere actually tried telling folks what he was going through at the time, but people just brushed him off and told him to shut up and stick to making movies. Bryshere got in Diddy and Will Smith's possession around the same time he blew up on Empire. He was introduced to them by his then manager, Charlie Mack, and his life was never the same again. Charlie initially introduced Bryshere to Diddy because he wanted Diddy to mentor him in his music career, but while Will helped him get his acting career together, but baby, they had that poor boy doing everything else but what he was introduced to them to do. According to Jaguar Wright, Bryshere and Meek were heard by Will's neighbors running out of Will's house after a rough freak-off session.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
But Jaguar wasn't done spilling the tea about Diddy and Will because she later had an explosive interview in which she made some serious accusations about Bryshere's mother, Andrea, also being part of the plan to sell Bryshere off to Diddy and Will. Initially, people thought Charlie wasn't aware of what was being done to Bryshere, but it turns out he was very much aware, and that it was Bryshere's mother, Andrea, who approved of him giving Bryshere away to get turned out by these industry men in exchange for some money. But here's the thing, though, y'all. Jaguar claims Andrea received $10 million in exchange for Bryshere being given away, and on top of all that money, Andrea also wanted to use Bryshere's trauma as content for a book that she was working on. She knew that if Bryshere went through the things he went through, it would be a sad story that people would want to hear about from the mother's perspective.
And when I say Andy, I'm talking about Bryshere's mom. I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. And Charlie, you happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life and what you had to do with it. You CI.
Jaguar also revealed that Andrea actually came to her begging to help her with Bryshere, and she specifically told Andrea to get Bryshere away from Charlie Mack since he was the one Bryshere to Diddy and Will, but Andrea did nothing and allowed Diddy and Will to keep messing with her son and making him indulge in freak offs.
Do you feel this is...
That came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a dealer's. That's all she ever was. She went from dealer to dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on until she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy, and I hope anybody that bought it asks for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's gay. You and Charlie Mack.
Now, as y'all know, Bryshere is now on off-selling pictures of his poopy hole and getting group drilled by multiple men at a time and selling the videos for chicken change. Well, Jaguar claims the reason why they are encouraging Bryshere's new career as a gay porn actor is because they want people to think his crazy is that when he comes out with his lawsuit against Diddy and Will, no one will take him seriously because they'll think he's not mentally stable. This mental illness trick is something that has been used to silence a lot of victims in the past, and unfortunately, Bryshere is one of them. Jaguar even went as far as claiming that They is a secret tape of Justin Bieber, Will, Jaden, Diddy, and Bryshere having a freak-off.
They're trying to slay him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay.
I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
You can't say that the flavor camp was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. You just come on. Come on.
Starting to sound that way, ain't it?
No.
All that talent, and she let Charlie tune that boy up, knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a filth. You're a big old and they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. You was down by all. I'm sorry. The Bryshere conversation for me is not easy. Because I came to Belial and I asked Belial to help me save the kids, and all he was worried about was his book.
And for those of y'all wondering what lawsuit Jaguar was talking about, well, a few months ago, shortly before Bryshere launched his OF career, there was news going around about him allegedly preparing to file a $50 million lawsuit against Diddy. This was revealed by a LB-lined item who said, "I suspect the soon-to-step-forward male victim of sex by this A-list mogul will not be the last man to do so, Sean Diddy Combs." But just before this lawsuit was announced, Bryshere pulled back and suddenly started selling his cheeks on OF. Something clearly happened to make him change his mind. Terrence Howard made things messier when he also stepped into the chat and seemingly confirmed that the freak-offs Bryshere went through with Diddy is the reason why he is now turned out. During a recent interview, he said there were young men that were getting bent over in the industry in the name of mentorships and acting contracts, and that once those men allowed other men to sleep with them, they were never the same.
You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Now, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right. But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
There is clearly a lot going on with Bryshere, but we'll just have to wait till he is ready to come out and tell us what really happened to him. As usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said, it happened to Orlando Brown too. However, after he began recovering from drugs and started doing interviews, people called him crazy. Some of the things he says have truth to it. This was one of those truths. This goes for Raz B as well from B2K. This world can be very sick, dark, and sad. I just pray and ask the Lord for their their healing and for them to get to know who he is. Another person said, this is terrible. He needs to sue, and for more than 50 million. So sad. Not only do they SA these young men and women, they drug them and turn them into addicts. They literally destroy their lives just for their own sick pleasure. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Diddy allegedly touching Bryshere? And do you really think his mama sold him for $10 million? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.